What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and we are only one sleep away from the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, the anticipation for this week has just been so long. It's been dragging on and on and on basically ever since Saturday when you beat the Giants and then you watch the Dallas versus 49ers game. You see Dallas utterly choke at the end. I know this is old news by now, but this is basically, it's still very funny to bring up. Dak Prescott, that final play where Ezekiel Elliott just got absolutely rocked for some reason. He was playing center, Dak Prescott with the interceptions once again. Dallas just continuing to choke. You always got to throw a jab at the Dallas Cowboys at the end of the day. That's just the way it works. But now you've got 49ers. We've known the matchup basically since Sunday. Like I said, the anticipation for this game has been agony. It's been a long week. It's been a very long week. And we're finally only one more sleep away. 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Lincoln Financial Field. That stadium is going to be rocking. And I mean rocking. With Eagles fans. 49ers fans think they're going to be taking over Lincoln Financial Field. I don't expect that to happen whatsoever. I saw that video earlier today from the 49ers fans at Xfinity Live. Yeah, I don't think they're taking over Lincoln Financial Field from the amount of people I saw in that video, even though it's probably not going to be all those specific people. But to be honest, Philadelphia fans are not going to let, Eagles fans specifically, they're not going to let another team take over their stadium, especially in the NFC Championship game. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We've been disrespected so many times. Going back to the World Series baseball postseason. Oh, Philadelphia, it's just another place to play in. Nothing too special, spectacular about that. Oh, yeah, what did the Atlanta Braves see in Philadelphia? Oh, yeah, Rhys Hoskins crushing off of Spencer Strider, Bryce Harper. Padres, Bryce Harper, swing of his life. World Series, all up until the World Series. Citizens Bank Park was a scary place to play. NLDS, NLCS teams did not want to play Philadelphia in Citizens Bank Park. Lincoln Financial Field, Eagles, best team in the NFC, arguably. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Home field in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, I don't think Philadelphia fans are going to let any other city take over their damn stadium. That's just not going to happen. Philadelphia fans, man, it's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. And I can't wait for every second of it. Man, like I said, it's been so agonizing waiting for it. I just come on, I just want it to be Sunday already. You've been listening to sports talk radio every single day this week. You get the 49ers fans coming in here trying to prove Philadelphia fans wrong. And then you got, Eagles fans sounding a little more confident, but then you also get the, share of Eagles fans who are thinking we're being a little too cocky or they're still a little bit afraid of the 49ers. I'm confident as ever in this team right now. I'm going into this game confident no matter what, because you know why? I believe in this team. I believe in this Eagles squad entirely. It's not solely based on what they did against the New York Giants. That game was obvious that the Eagles were going to blow it out. Because you know why? The New York Giants were just not on that level. Nowhere even close to the level of the Philadelphia Eagles. The San Francisco 49ers, however, yes, they are a really good team. But when I look at these two teams neck and neck, I do think the Eagles take advantages in a lot of areas against the 49ers. That's not knocking San Francisco. They're still a very good team. But I think the Eagles are just better. And I think the Eagles, especially when you look at the line in Vegas, that -2.5, it keeps flip-flopping, -2.5, -3.5, especially in a home game in the playoffs. I think that means something, especially when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs Cincinnati Bengals game. That line keeps flopping between, -1 and all that. It's very neck and neck even with the Bengals and the Chiefs. I think that line says a lot, and I also think this line says a lot how Vegas views the Eagles in this matchup, thinking they're the more favored matchups, especially being at home, and I think overall just being the better team than the 49ers. It's not saying San Francisco is a bad team. They are a very good team. They're here for a reason. Multiple NFC Championship games in a row. Kyle Shanahan, for his flaws with clock management, still a very creative coach, one of the best coaches in the NFL. But I think right now, in this time, place, tomorrow afternoon on the field, I think the Eagles are the better squad overall. And I take them in, specific matchups. I think overall they have the better quarterback. Jalen Hurts versus Brock Purdy. I think it's, not even a competition at that point. Brock Purdy, basically last pick of the NFL draft, coming in here having to do the job. He's done a good job for them, definitely. But you're going into the NFC Championship game. Yeah, he's played road games, in the regular season. He hasn't played road games in the NFL playoffs. Played the wild card game. Played the divisional round. It's no joke. People are saying, oh, he played in Seattle during the regular season. I don't think Seattle in the regular season matches to the Lincoln Financial Field in the playoffs. I just don't see that. Seattle is probably one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL when they get to the playoffs. But now that Brock Purdy is getting his first taste of road postseason action in a hostile environment like Philadelphia, there's going to be so much pressure. He's going to be scared shitless. He's not going to be able to hear anything. Communications between him and Kyle Shanahan, he isn't going to hear anything whatsoever with the communication devices in his helmet. He's going to be questioning, what the hell are we doing? I can't hear anything with all these fans, screaming down my neck. It's going to be a wild atmosphere. And is Brock Purdy going to be ready for that? I just don't see a rookie quarterback, third string especially, just coming into that environment and dominating. I just don't see that at all. I don't. Jalen Hurts, MVP season. Yeah, people were questioning with the shoulder injury. He looked perfectly fine against the Giants, did what he had to do. Made some nice throws, got some nice runs. Jalen Hurts, the dual threat quarterback. I think the clear advantage there is Jalen Hurts. I think the advantage is to the Eagles' offensive line as well. This offensive line is one of the best in football. Probably the best in football. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Isaac Seumalo. Isaac Seumalo, you can honestly say he'd be a starter on any other team for the Eagles. He's a rotational guy. And then your two big pieces, Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson. Those two dudes, the best center in football, the best right tackle in football. These guys don't give up sacks. They just don't. They're that dominant. They're that good. And you got a Lane Johnson, even if he's 70% healthy, playing through an injury, he's still dominant. He still does not give up sacks. Still does not. Yeah, they got Nick Bosa on the defensive side for the 49ers. I just, maybe he gets his, maybe Mailata gets beat once in a while. You still got the best offensive line in football. Now you look at the defensive front. It's pick your poison, basically. Do you want to go up against a Fletcher Cox? Do you want to go up against a Brandon Graham rejuvenated, coming off of a, ACL tear, having one of the, probably the best season of his entire career? Should have been nominated for Comeback Player of the Year, but he was not whatsoever. I have no idea why he wasn't nominated. He had 10 plus sacks on the year. The best statistical season in his career. You want to pick your poison with that? Or do you want to go with Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick? Those guys literally going after quarterbacks and making their lives a complete living hell. Hassan Reddick basically since half of the season, look at what Josh Sweat has turned into, probably because of Hassan Reddick. Those guys have been a deadly duo for this defensive line. Deadly duo. You can also implement a young guy in Jordan Davis to help stop the run, and Ndamukong Suh. Robert Quinn. Look at that secondary. It's also a chance to pick your poison. You're getting Avonte Maddox back. And now you can add to that ability with James Bradbury and CJ Gardner-Johnson, where you can slide CJ back near the safety position to where he can go and start hogging some interceptions. Literally, the entire defense, TJ Edwards, Marcus Epps too as well. Reed Blankenship. It's pick your poison everywhere. Where do you want to, take your chances with this Eagles squad? The running game's even solid too. I would say that, the edge to the runners more go to the 49ers with Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, but, those guys that might be coming into this game banged up, especially Christian McCaffrey. Hasn't, participated in full practices a lot this week for the 49ers. Coming into this game a little injured. And some other 49ers are injured as well. The Eagles are coming into this game as healthy as possible, probably the healthiest they have been since halfway through the season. It's the healthiest they've been. You're adding Avonte Maddox back. I just don't see it how this Eagles, even if, like, going back to the Eagles' run game, like how I said the 49ers may have them beat, but the Eagles also have very great options as well on their side of the ball. Miles Sanders coming off of a career year, 1,000 yards rushing for the first time. You also got a nice little, secret weapon right there in Boston Scott. Also can throw in a Kenneth Gainwell, even though I don't expect him to have the, performance that he did against the Giants, he can still be a nice weapon back there. And also, if you're thinking Jalen Hurts, like I said, the dual threat quarterback, you have 4 options there on the running side. And even going back to the, to go to the receivers, I think the Eagles have him completely beaten. The 49ers, they're definitely weaker on the side of the secondary to where the Eagles can beat out some, their wideouts can beat theirs. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, probably one of the best wide receiver duos in football. You got probably one of the better tight ends in football as well. I would say top 5, top 7, Dallas Goedert. I still think he's a little bit underrated in this league, but also he's going up against one of the best tight ends in the league in George Kittle. So that's definitely going to be a nice competition there. But I think where the Eagles really, beat this 49ers team and take advantage of their defense, because they are good against the run. Even though I do think the Eagles are going to be a little more pass happy in this game, more than what they were against the Giants. They really hammered down running the ball into the trenches. I do think they're going to be mixing match with a little bit of both, but more on the side of the pass. Involve A.J. Brown more. He was definitely frustrated with his own performance last week. It had nothing to do with what the Eagles did. His body was hurting a little bit from the weather and all that stuff. I do expect him to have a way better performance. Devontae Smith, when guys are keeping their eyes on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith out there to get some catches. And even guys, when they don't get their catches, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, you're seeing these guys blocking, opening up some space for a lot of guys. And maybe if you're looking at, maybe a quiet guy back there, maybe, could have a Kenneth Gainwell type of game. Quez Watkins possibly. Can Quez Watkins have that? He's not going to be the guy getting all the targets in the game whatsoever. He's not going to. But can he have that 150, 60-yard play, possibly that one pass where it goes all the way downfield? Maybe he gets into the end zone or he gets it down to the goal line, into the red zone, set up a first and goal situation. Maybe he has that type of play within him for tomorrow afternoon. There's a lot of things with this Eagles team that I just see that they're better than the 49ers. And that's not downplaying San Francisco whatsoever. They are a good team. This is not going to be like what it was against the New York Giants. This is definitely going to be a lot of a closer game. It's not going to be a blowout. I would say more closer, maybe like a 1 or a 2 touchdown type of game. That's what 1 or 2 score. That's what I see. But at the end of the day, I do see the Eagles coming out on top because overall, I just think they are the better team in a lot of facets against this 49ers squad. Coaching, maybe it has more in favor of the 49ers because Kyle Shanahan is that guy. But, one of his biggest weaknesses is clock management. You saw at the end of that game against Dallas where, they were trying to run out the clock. We got players running out of bounds and everything like that. It just wasn't, solid at all. They still found a way to get the win, but clock management is Kyle Shanahan's biggest flaw. And you also got, some of the reigns of history on Kyle Shanahan, 28-3 in the Super Bowl when he was the offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. The Super Bowl against the Chiefs where he had the lead there and they lost that game. Well, when he was the coach of the 49ers, not the coach of the Falcons. So, I just think this Eagles squad right now, I think overall, I think it's their time. I'm going to go into this game believing, confident in my team no matter what, because I just think that's what it is. If they happen to lose tomorrow, it is what it is. I'm not going to go in scared. I'm going to go in confident in my team every single day of the week. I think that's what Eagles fans should be doing. I think we have a right to be cocky. You're looking at last year. Basically, if you're looking at last year's Eagles squad, it's kind of like the New York Giants this year. You squeak into the playoffs. You're one of the final wild card spots. You're going up against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. It's just that, you try to convince yourself, oh, maybe the Eagles can pull the upset, but at the end of the day, deep down, they're not going to come out on top because they're just not as good as the other team they're playing. But this Eagles team right here, sky's the limit. Jalen Hurts is 14-1. 14-1, 15-1 when he's under center. They've only lost one game when he's been starting. 1 game. And teams like to use, it's on tape what the Washington Commanders did to them. A lot of other teams tried to do what the Commanders did to the Eagles. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. Majority of the time the Eagles lost their games is because of self-inflicted wounds. They lost the game against the Cowboys Christmas Eve was because self-inflicted wounds. You fumbled the ball too much. You lost the game against the Saints because Gardner Minshew put up the worst quarterback play I've seen in my entire life. All but 1 game Jalen Hurts has played in this season. They have won. All but 1 game. He has been that fantastic for this team. He's put up an MVP season for a reason. I think he's the MVP of the league, but it's most likely going to go to Patrick Mahomes. I think Nick Sirianni should have been nominated for Coach of the Year, but he wasn't. I think Brandon Graham should have been nominated for Comeback Player of the Year, but it's most likely going to go to Deebo Samuel. Not Deebo Samuel, Geno Smith. I don't know why I said Deebo. That was the first thing that was on my mind for some reason. But overall, I'm just that confident in this team right now. Overall, that confident. It's no knock against the 49ers. I respect them to hell. I hate their fan base, though. I think their fan base is kind of annoying. I know, Renee, I see you in the chat. I know you're a 49ers fan. I'm not talking about you. You're a very nice and generous guy in the subscription feed. I appreciate you a lot, man, being in the chat most of the time. Not talking about you. I'm talking about most other 49ers fans. But yeah, that's how confident right now I am in this Eagles team. I think fans should be cocky. I think we have the right to be cocky. We were the number 1 seed in the NFC for a reason. One of the best teams in football. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Like, this is the ticket. This is the game that gets you the ticket to the Super Bowl against either Cincinnati or the Chiefs. I personally think it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, even though with the whole Mahomes high ankle sprain situation, I'm not sure how difficult that is. I know the Chiefs are dealing with some injuries. The Bengals are dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, but Burrow just continues to find a way to pull magic, things together. And Burrow is 3-0 against the Chiefs, so maybe that showcases something. Maybe that showcases that Pat Mahomes is due for a win against the Bengals. Who knows? Well, who knows? I think the Eagles win tomorrow. I think it's a 1 or 2 score game. And I think the Eagles punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. I'm highly believing in this team, man. I am. I'm super confident. I'm super confident they can get the job done tomorrow. And I'm super confident that this team will get a parade down Broad Street. The Philadelphia Phillies, they gave this, basically before the World Series, Philadelphia hasn't experienced any championship anything since the first Super Bowl with 2017. Since then, it's been really nothing. The World Series, that run by the Phillies, it gave Philly a taste. It gave us a taste, us fans. Phillies didn't win it in the end, but they put up a good fight. We didn't expect them to win at all. But it gave the city a taste. And now the Eagles, they're taking us on the ride again. And I think that ride ends with a Lombardi trophy. I think it does. But first, the first task, you got to win tomorrow. You got to win tomorrow. It's going to be a tough game. 2 really good teams. I do think the Eagles are the better team. I do think they come out on top. But I'm going to go into this game believing in this team. If they lose, it is what it is. I'm going to go down believing. And I think that's what all Eagles fans should do. Lincoln Financial Field is going to be rocking. It's going to be absolutely rocking, die hard. I'm going to hear it from my house. It's going to be that loud. First snap. Can't wait for a first touchdown from A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, or Devontae Smith. Hell, maybe it could be Miles Sanders. Hell, it could be Jalen Hurts. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I can't wait for it at all. It's going to be a very fun time. We do have some voicemails here on the Anytime Hotline. Going to bring one of them up. Got one from Sean right here. And if you do want to leave any voicemails for tomorrow, we're definitely going to have the recap after tomorrow's game. So you could save your, reactions and thoughts and opinions and stuff like that at the Hotmail, 215-839-9885 with your thoughts and opinions. Definitely. It's your choice. You can leave a text, voicemail, anything you want. You can also just come into the YouTube feed and hang out after the game tomorrow. It's your preference at the end of the day, but we're going to bring in this voicemail right here from Sean. Let's see what he has to say about tomorrow's game.
It's a TTP Sports NFC Championship game preview, eh? Now, I'm going to go into this as feeling pretty hypocritical because before the season started, you enter these contests or whatever where you try to predict the Super Bowl participants. And I admit to you, I had the 49ers against the Bills going in. So by rights, I should be picking San Francisco in this game. However, looking at it as an Eagles fan, but trying to be objective, I mean, I think the Eagles got a real solid shot at this one here. I mean, we're just as talented, if not more, than San Francisco, and we're at home. Do I expect the letter perfect performance that they had against the Giants? No. And I do worry about the Eagles turning the ball over against San Francisco's opportunistic defense and giving them cheap points. But if the Eagles can hold on to the ball and curb the penalties down, I mean, I have the Eagles winning this game. I think it's going to be a tough game. I got 27-24, but I have the Eagles prevailing in the end. And if so, Amadeo, let's get everybody rounded up because you're paying for our trip to Arizona.
I wish I could afford that, Sean. I wish I could afford that trip. But sadly, I don't have the funds for that. I'd be watching at home from my couch or from my desktop situation. That's basically all I'll be doing at that point. But thank you for the call as always, Sean. But yeah, it's going to be a tight contest. It definitely is. It really is. Like I said, I think it's going to be a 1-2 score type of game. But like I said, it's a game where, two of the NFC's best are piling up against each other. Two of the best in the NFC. This is the matchup we probably all expected at the end of the day. Honestly, you can also say this is the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl because these teams are just that good. But I think the Eagles are just a little bit better than the 49ers. I think they have them covered in a good amount of areas. Quarterback, offensive line, defensive front, wide receivers. Sky's the limit, man. Sky is the limit with this team. And I'm going to go in confident tomorrow. I think all Eagles fans should. And I can't wait. Tomorrow, kickoff 3 o'clock, Lincoln Financial Field. I can't wait for that stadium to be absolutely dialed in and electric. I can't wait. I cannot wait at all. And before we ended off here, I had my cousin earlier. He dropped off a cake from a bakery. And it was a Go Birds cake. Fly Eagles Fly. And I was like, he knows what's up. He knows what's up. Can't wait tomorrow, everyone. That's where we're going to call it here. So thank you for joining the streams. As always, I see you in here. Channel name, Renee Cruz. I appreciate you guys, as always, for joining streams. I'll definitely will be seeing you guys tomorrow after tomorrow's game, depending on what happens. And for other people, definitely don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Do not forget to check out the description. Drop a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It does me a very good service. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. It is a great deal. Do not pass up on that. Use it for anything you can think of. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining tonight's stream. I will see you all tomorrow. Go Birds!